We're back. Oh yeah, you guys know what it means when I say those words. That means it's time for some more tomb raiding, baby. I'm your host with the most, William Morris.
I'm your co-host, Eugene Morris.
And I'm your not so much mystery guest anymore, Jenny Milward.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. We know
Hello.
So many of you have been begging for Tomb Raider Legend, and it is finally here. The legend. The man, the myth, the woman, the myth, the legend, Lara Croft. Okay. Woo, it's been a while. Angel of Darkness. That actually came out really well, didn't it, guys?
I was really impressed with how that came out, and extremely happy with the reaction. People really showing the Tomb Raider love there. That was brilliant to see.
Yeah, I'd like to think that video also encouraged more people to really like Angel of Darkness, and it definitely, I think, brought more interest into your side of the Tomb Raider things, as in probably for even your book.
Yes, I've had a very good response of people saying, where can I get hold of this? And I say, my website. And so I hope the link should be available in the description. But yes, I'm a fan fiction author, voice actor, and occasional mystery guest on Brotherhood of Gaming whenever Tomb Raider is mentioned. So over to you then, Will.
Oh, Gene, how do you feel about this?
Controversial, because we're about to enter the Crystal Dynamics era of Tomb Raider games, and this is going to be interesting, the reaction, because there are a lot of core design fans who have drawn a line in the sand and want nothing to do with the Crystal Dynamics games. And it's gonna be interesting to see the reaction to this one, because this is my personal favorite Tomb Raider game. A long time ago, I did like a top 20 personal favorite list. This was number 2 on my list, behind only Tales of Eternia. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if this is going to be people are gonna like this, or they're gonna just tear into this game in the comment section. Either way, it
well, I like to think all of our viewers have class and that they know not to treat anybody bad. If they want,
not all. There's some people that just pretty much declared war on us because we dare combine the core design and Crystal Dynamics games together in our timeline.
Yeah,
so.
Interestingly, we're not the only ones that advocated that. Like, there's the whole singular timeline theory where the Crystal Dynamics games up until Underworld all take place in the same continuity, which we've made the argument of why it can happen and why there are some things that, it can't, but you know what,
There's those that believe in a single timeline and those that believe in a split. It's singlists and splitists. It's just like Trekkie and Trekker, just more nerdy.
It's just like The Legend of Zelda. You got people that are calling complete bull on Nintendo's timeline, and then you got people that are like, sure, why not?
But then, of course, I don't think there is a Tomb Raider fan in the world who hasn't at least speculated in their own mind, how the hell can you reconcile all of these events? So, you guys just sort of went the extra mile and made a whole edited video version of it. So, it seems to be a pastime of Tomb Raiders thinking, at some point in my Tomb Raider fandom career, I must try to work out how Lara can find Excalibur and the Dagger of Zion in the same universe.
There you go.
Varying degrees of success there.
Yeah, so I'd like to think we might have contributed to that theory quite a bit with our video.
Interesting. Since the timeline came out, people have been asking us, so where does Lara Croft go on this timeline? Like, oh boy.
Pick a spot. Yeah. Anyway, I think we have stalled the audience long enough. So you know what? Here's what we're going to do, guys, because we are all diehard Tomb Raider fans here. We are going to play this game on hard mode. That's right. We're going
Oh,
hardcore Tomb Raider fans here. So,
Which is not that
Hardcore
hard.
/ masochistic Tomb Raider fan.
Which is not that hard, actually.
all right, let's do this. Okay, so when the game first came out, it was pretty well received. But we'll talk more about that because we have cutscenes coming up that you guys might be interested in.
Just because no one's ever caught one doesn't mean they're not real.
That is very true, but perhaps they don't wish to be found. I've heard they're rather fierce.
Yeti only look fierce. They probably don't like being so cold all the time. I shouldn't like it either.
You never have to be cold, my Lara, if you don't want to be.
Ugh. How precious.
Look!
Henry, what's happened?
Mayday, mayday! This is Bravo Tango 229er. We lost our port side engine. Trying to get cross feeds open.
Are we going to crash?
Starboard engine non-responsive.
Not unless it's absolutely necessary.
Stabilize the jam.
Eva Karp, who also plays Professor Minerva McGonagall in all the Harry Potter video games.
Close your eyes, darling.
I don't want to close my eyes.
Stop and shout.
I want to see the life flash before my eyes. So, several years after the events of Angel of Darkness, Lara Croft got her life back together, and she went back on her Tomb Raider adventures a little older and wiser with her friend Zip from Tomb Raider Chronicles here to help her out. Jenny, shut the hell up.
Hey, unlike that speculation, I actually did my research into the whole Lara timeline and birthday thing. She would have been 38 in this
Set of stairs.
if we're continuing with the same timeline, I thought.
I want to throw up.
That is some amazing Facebook.
Hey, Alice is back. Grab a headset.
Back so soon? From Florence, wasn't it?
Decided on Genoa at the last minute. My dissertation will never see daylight at this rate, but never mind that. What are you doing in Bolivia?
Making a new game. What else?
Usual Tomb Raidering things, jumping, climbing, doing outrageous handstands just because I can.
She's a lovely preen.
Hot entrance.
Currently in ruins.
Delighted.
First impressions, very important.
I've been
The
looking
big
for
thing
certain
about-
artifacts. Well,
Oh no, go on. Yeah, they're going to
Alright,
talk
so
in the
yeah.
game. Just go.
The big thing about Tomb Raider Legend that it did that Angel of Darkness didn't do is it took Lara off the grid. The controls and the way Lara moves is much more fluent. Feels much more fluent than it did in Angel of Darkness.
Yeah, the thing about Angel of Darkness is that the controls felt like they were trying to take her off the grid, which in a sense they did, but the problem is the controls that they were still working with were trying to imitate the older games, and that's what threw a lot of us off, making us think that we had to play it the old way, which honestly
And
didn't
invert
work
the
out.
controls. Invert the controls.
Yeah,
for some
and
reason.
invert the jump button and the roll button, which, why?
There was an awful lot of fluidity in the Legend controls, because I always think of Angel of Darkness controls as a hybrid attempt that they didn't quite manage to pull off properly, but again, that was, who knows what 6 months more of beta testing would have produced.
Uh-oh.
But no, Legends controls were much more fluid and, well, a breath of fresh air, really, weren't they?
Yeah.
Jen, what'd you think of the voice actress for the Legacy trilogy?
The Keely Hawes. Yeah, she's I don't know what her reputation was in the States, but in Britain we were very familiar with her prior to Legend. She was in all sorts of drama series like Spooks, Ashes to Ashes, Tipping the Velvet. So in that sense, when the voice actress name was announced, it came as no surprise, because she had done so many roles that called for a really classic, well enunciated British accent. In fact, I can remember hearing a clip of the voice acting a few months before Legend was actually released, and there was no footage to it at all. It was just an audio clip, and I think it was when she's talking to Anaya over the headset in Peru. And I, along with a hell of a lot of other people, were convinced that she was actually Rachel Weisz. And so it was a, yeah, she, you sort of close your eyes and so on, and you don't know that it's Keely. Yeah, you can be fooled. And but no, I think she did a great job.
Beautiful. I'm falling in love all over again.
You say that's all the ruins.
I'm a terrible
I can't help
lover.
but notice that Will is using the
And here come the
alternate
bloody
costume
pirates.
here.
I'll get into details. Okay, see, here's the thing. When Tomb Raider, I've got quite a history with Tomb Raider Legend myself, because there's things to talk about. But when I thought, I'll admit, I wasn't crazy about the original costume that they went with, because they were like, okay, we're gonna bring Lara back. She's gonna. Oh, hold on, listen. I love that line, like, oh, hey, it's her. It's Tomb Raider. Let's get her. She's here.
It's like that climber has got such a reputation amongst the mercenaries after like less than 5 minutes. That's
Well,
how
actually,
good she
I like
is.
to think that she's got like a reputation because everybody knows who Lara Croft is. So it's just like, oh, look, there she is. It's Tomb Raider.
Oh damn, we're in trouble now.
Yeah, I love this part.
For mercenaries, they're a terrible shot.
That sounded permanent.
I love that line. That sounded permanent.
And terminal.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Terminal.
like, we're gonna bring Lara Croft back and we're gonna change up the gameplay and give her a fresh new look, but it's gonna be beige. But so I was just like, what? Okay, not crazy about the look, guys, but thank you for at least adding in the classic suit so I can at least have the choice of remembering where I came from.
Well, I don't really see it as them changing the gameplay. I just see them as fine-tuning it for a new next generation consoles.
Yeah.
Well, that was another thing about the outfits choices in that one. I mean, Legend like holds the record for the most number of outfits. I think when
yeah.
I did the retrospective for it for Survivor Reborn, I found out there was like 33 versions
wow.
of costumes, and there were at least three more in the PSP exclusive. So yeah, this one has got the most incredible wardrobe you've ever seen.
Indeed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
They went above and beyond with it.
This game is one of those games. It's like if there's like a console, there's a version of Tomb Raider Legend on it.
Oh yeah.
They've
like,
got quite a few subtle differences, haven't they, between the consoles?
Oh yeah, going all the way to the Game
might
Boy
be,
Advance, man. Yeah, so
Yes, Alistair, we had no idea that was a great idea.
well, yeah, okay, no. Tomb Raider Legend came out at the time where I actually needed this game because before Gene and I had really bonded and gotten close as we are, I had another cousin who I practically grew up with, like an older sibling. And this was, of course, around the time Angel of Darkness came out, so Tomb Raider's popularity had really diminished. The reputation had kind of gone down. People were thinking Lara Croft was kind of like, had become a has-been. And then, unfortunately, my cousin passed away. So, yeah, it like my world was kind of just shattering. And so...
You really needed that morale booster.
Yeah, and so when this came out, it kind of sounded like, oh, okay, so it's not over. There's still hope. And it worked out really well.
Well, it came at a time where we didn't think there was going to be any more Tomb Raiders. So the fact, like, oh, there's a new Tomb Raider, and people are actually liking it, and so it was very exciting. Correct me if I'm wrong. It came out about the same time that Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, if I recall.
Yeah, it did.
That shows you how long ago this game was.
Yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 2 was still brand new, if not even out yet. So, yeah, that just goes to show, yeah, this is around that era. So, yeah, I've already performed quite a few interesting maneuvers that veterans might have just been like, oh, wow, that was different.
Well, yeah, I'm inclined to ask what the hell was in those pistols.
Yeah, moving the blocks around. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the fact that they are, like grated metal, not solid metal, that's even more impressive.
Now here's something new that was added.
Yeah. Something that was great on paper, but everybody I know has sort of come to be the pet
QuickTime
hate of
events.
any kind of game, never mind Tomb Raider. The dreaded QuickTime event.
Oh, I don't know. I don't mind them too
Thank
much.
you, Resident Evil. But I noticed this was the only game. But yeah, they were trying a lot of new things because this one was really the first game that really tried to extend Lara's fighting repertoire. where it was just. Well, I think everyone can agree that for as much as we love the old core design games, the weak point was always the combat. Here they tried to do like kicks and slides and bullet time effects and
Trying to make Lara more aerodynamic, which is cool.
exactly, yeah.
Oh, what do we have going on here? So yeah, with all the mercenaries coming out of nowhere to attack Lara, there's got to be a reason, right?
Oh, she's been looking for certain artifacts. And deja vu.
Apparently other people were looking for certain artifacts too.
Lara learns the lesson. You can look, but you can't touch.
Apparently her mother didn't know that.
No.
Lara, have you found anything for the fire?
No, I found a big shiny thing that I will need to poke and see what it does.
Has this always been like the one thing about Legends Gen that kind of irked you was like the retelling of the origin story?
I'll say in the original she would have been 21 and newly engaged and been in a plane crash after returning from a skiing trip, and this one they made her an itty bitty girl.
What's happening, Mother? Who's there?
She has the power!
Mother?
Couldn't handle it. So I like to wonder, what the hell was her mother doing for a long time in Avalon? Spoilers.
Becoming a very depressed and then eventually reanimated corpse. Spoilers.
Maybe. Yeah, just because no one's ever caught one doesn't mean they're not real. I prove that when I catch Bigfoot.
Fire! Lara Croft! I've been hoping I'd get to meet you.
I mean, after all, you being famous for archaeology and stuff. You have like, what, 6 games?
Oh, he's got to have played at least one.
Maybe you found a piece of this.
They may have done. Possibly.
Photographic memory
This
she
what
has.
led you here?
Where did you find that?
Comes in
Doesn't
handy with
matter.
archaeology.
What's important is what it does. Do you know?
What I know is my business.
So you don't then, and that means you don't have a piece. Amanda said you were sloppy. You should have paid more attention in Paraíso.
Amanda? Amanda's dead. What the hell do you know about Paraíso?
We're done talking.
Look out, guys! She's Tomb Raider!
Yeah, that must have been sort of like mercenary code saying, right, if I finish talking, that means you can shoot her with a helicopter. That must cause all sorts of problems in the whole rest of his life.
Can't imagine how many families Lara must be ruining just by offing these people.
That said, I imagine if you do take up the mercenary lifestyle, you're not really much of a family person.
Yeah,
generally
I
speaking.
guess that's true.
Especially if it's, you know, if your employer is like humongously rich into archaeology and keeps kooky company with blonde witch people.
Spoilers!
That wasn't a spoiler. We saw her on the helicopter.
There is more than one. Father, you were right.
What was that?
Keep yourselves caffeinated, lads. We've some work ahead of us.
That's what I told you guys before we started the speedrun.
Complain about?
Oh. Such the journey begins.
All right. Who was that?
You've heard of the Rutlands, right? From the States? Well, you just met the senator's youngest son, James Rutland. Went to West Point, and that's about all he's done.
Call up the footage, please.
Welcome home, Lady Croft. Will your hand luggage require emptying or filling?
Winston, take a look at this. It's almost identical, just configured differently.
Identical to what?
Something I saw a long time ago in Nepal, miles from any pre-Incan culture.
And you believe this to be a fragment of the sword?
What sword?
More likely another of its kind. Zip, I want you to find out what you can about this Rutland, particularly where he is at the moment.
Try Peru. You talked about Paraíso.
He did imply there's information about the artifacts there.
He said you've been to Paraíso. What happened there? And who's Amanda?
Alistair, go over these images and see what you can work out. Zip, ring Anaya and see if she can meet me in Paraíso Saturday morning.
Righto. So yeah, when the game came out, as far as I remember, it was really well received.
Yeah, and it was one of the fastest selling games in the franchise, as I seem to remember. I think it's sold. I was looking at the sales figures from IDOS. This is publicly available, and they were saying, as of 2009, it sold something like 4.5 million copies.
Oh wow, right on.
I don't know what. But I don't know what the spread is on consoles. I don't know, which one was the most popular.
Given the time period, I'd say probably the PlayStation 2 still.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, probably. The game also came out on the Xbox 360 at the time, but I think the 360 was still relatively new, and not many fans of Tomb Raider were Xbox goers. After all, Tomb Raider was kind of household on the PlayStation.
Oh, you just busted this level.
Yeah.
Who needs collision? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm just casually doing... Oh, don't mind me. I'm just
Walls?
casually defying the laws of everything. So, yeah, Anaya, who we were...
Yeah, we're not staying around the magic wall-walking woman.
Oh, yes, I probably should mention that. I was just kind of casually...
GameCube controller, okay.
Yeah, I'm playing this on the GameCube. What, you didn't know? So yeah, I was just apparently we were supposed to meet Anaya in the marketplace, but apparently she left.
Vehicle levels has always been a big part of Tomb Raider as well.
True, although this was the first one, I suppose, that had vehicle levels as
a subsection.
Vehicle levels. You couldn't get off at any point. You couldn't go and explore different things. I mean, there was the first one I can remember ever playing was like KV5 Valley of the Kings, when you're trying to chase down those ninja guys in a jeep through Egypt, and that was really interesting because you could keep getting off and going down into chasms and pits and finding all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, and the guys in the jeeps were kind enough to just sit there and wait for you to catch up.
Yeah, that's it. Well, they thought, she's going off for a coffee break, lads.
It's all right, guys. Cut. The director, he's like, okay, she's gonna go on and explore. All right, action. All right, good, go. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought these levels were actually a pretty cool change of pace.
Well, it was an interesting experiment, wasn't it? I mean, I noticed that it didn't make a return, so it was obviously an experiment that either
and remember in Underworld
received or anything.
In Underworld, there's that whole
yeah, that again
Mexico.
you can get off. Again,
Yeah,
you can
true.
you can come off at any point. With this particular format, you are absolutely stuck on your bike and you're constantly moving forward.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And for the first time, you can actually shoot things whilst you're moving.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, about Tomb Raider Legend, as far as I'm concerned, is that it was Crystal Dynamics experimenting. Like, it's a short, linear game, especially if you know what you're doing. Like, you can beat the game really quickly, as you'll see. But it's like, okay, let's try out these ideas and see what sticks, and it's just one bold experiment is really all I can say.
But the best part of this level are the ragdoll physics.
Yeah, like, isn't this like one of the first games that did it?
Isn't there like a bridge or something coming up?
Yeah. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Get some air!
I am not doing this for your benefit, Zip. Shut up.
Yeah, and they tried to give more, I guess, personality to the game, where Lara's constantly having a little back and forth between her two tech support people.
I actually kind of liked that. I know a lot of fans really didn't, and they missed the whole being isolated and alone thing that the Tomb Raider games used to have. But given, like, again, going with the singularity timeline sort of thing, if she has gone on in age and all the crap that she's been through and the trouble that she's been through, it would be a wise decision to have a team on standby helping you out. and like somebody to jaw jack with a little. Oh, hello.
Yeah, that sort of thing really breaks up the flow, doesn't it, whenever you hit that particular ramp. No, I do understand where you're coming from on that one, but as a splittist, I would say that this is a completely different Lara in terms of the previous one was very much an avowed loner. And in this one, she's sort of warm and relaxed around her people. I mean, for Christ's sake, they even live with her in Croft Manor. So she's not just sort of using people because they're useful, but she suddenly depends on them as necessary aspects of her life. And it was actually really fun to me, again, finding out, other stuff that the voice actors had done, like Alistair. What was his name? I think his name was Greg Ellis, but sometimes he goes by Johnny Reese. He actually played Olsen, the engineer in the rebooted Star Trek episode who goes parachuting with Kirk and Sulu, but ends up getting vaporized on the digger. Yeah. He's like, I've got to go down and kick some Romulan arse. No, you were a bit of a thrill junkie and it cost you.
Yeah, but our original Lara, she's also had some help. Like Zip, of course, was there in Tomb Raider Chronicles when she needed him, and of course
she hired him.
Yeah, and
she hired him, and they had some nice nasty banter. But I can't ever see her sort of saying, "You're so useful and so wonderful. Come and live with me permanently, so you can put a webcam in my bedroom." You cannot deny that. There is a post-it note on Zip's laptop saying "fix webcam in bedroom." So,
yeah, but what about in the movie? I mean, she's got Hillary and Bryce there tagging along. And one thing I do like about this game is that it took some liberties from the movie, which is cool. Like, it took the house straight from the film, which is awesome.
Yeah, it did. It really did owe so much to the first film.
Which the first film is awesome, guys. I don't care what any critic or person says. If you're a Tomb Raider fan, the first film is really great. Second one, complete garbage.
Quite.
When stacked atop thousands more. There's something I didn't tell you.
Do you see a little bit of Angelina Jolie in the facial features?
I think Amanda might not have died down there.
Not really.
Is that what
But maybe
this
that's
is
just
about?
me.
Closure? Isn't that what it's
Maybe it's the pouty lips.
Yeah, but I noticed you playing on the sort of the usual star thing. I really didn't like the next gen graphics on this one, even when I managed to get a PC that was powerful enough to run them. They always seem to make things look very waxy and shiny. I'd much prefer this version.
Well, that was just the era. A lot of games have that.
Still trying to perfect it. Well, nowadays, people sometimes still look a little waxy. All you gotta do is look at Street Fighter V.
So now we're having a flashback in Lara Croft's younger days, back before the adventures in Tomb Raider 1 with Jacqueline Natla, before she knew to bring weapons along on her adventures.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Well, yeah, because look, she has her backpack from her adventure with Werner. But
I always thought this was a nice touch. Now, in this level, you actually were wearing the classic suit.
But yeah, she's got her backpack,
and you do
no
have
weapons.
Flares.
Yeah, she's also got the
flares.
flares, the classic flares.
Now that was interesting because in a lot of the beta trailers for Legend, flares made an enormous impact of it, and we thought, oh my god, we're going to actually have flares all the way through the game. But of course, in the main storyline, they replaced them with this personal light source torch. And I thought,
well, more realistically, that would be the better thing, wouldn't it?
Well, perhaps, but at least with flares, you can leave them behind you and come back to them.
And you can flare cancel
more than just one places.
Yeah.
Sadly, no flare canceling in this game.
My God.
Oh, hello.
What's going on?
They killed Oscar.
What did?
I don't know.
Was it
But
you, Ken?
at least that one thing did cross over from core design. If you hang around Lara Croft, most likely you're gonna end up dead.
Unless you're back at her house.
Well, even then.
Oh yeah.
Even then
you're not safe.
Never mind. Well, somebody breaks in the house. Whoa! Oh man!
I do know a couple of archaeologists, and they're forever saying, the perils of having ghost-like creatures and monsters and vengeful rivals. It's a laugh a minute. Oh, this really threw me whenever I first played it, and I thought, there's something gone wrong with the camera. I can't control her. Where the hell is she? Oh, right, I'm seeing from the creature's point of view, but I still have full control. I can't see where she is, but I still have full control.
Like, they tried to give you, like, a little hint with that little, like, Lara action pose that flashed on a blue action photo that flashed, like, oh, this is a running sequence, by the way. He's like, oh, okay. Because he had the same thing happen in the first level where the chopper's coming at you.
Yeah, Underworld had a variation of it where it was, like, quick slowdown time to give you a reaction.
Yeah, but that was something else that in this particular trilogy was definitely experimental, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Now, for those who are catching on to the story, Lara is trying to discover what happened in the past between her long-lost friend, who, as you're going to see what happens, while also trying to see if there's any fragments of, well...
something.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to...
Oh, that! You found it! Ah, brilliant.
Yeah, I kind of agreed with Amanda right here. She's like, do you have any better ideas, honey? This sucks. Strong woman.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. It was the whole power of Green Sword.
Well, she is a female tank.
Controls and all.
Yeah, that was something very, very telltale. I was rewatching the developer diaries that were released prior to Legend, and you have, at one point, a Crystal Dynamics employee whose face and voice are conveniently muffled, saying she doesn't control like a tank anymore. Well, that's really nice and good observation, but interesting how you chose to blank out your identity before saying that sort of thing.
Because you knew the fans would kill you.
I was never bothered by that. I was never bothered by those controls. I don't know why.
Neither was I. I mean, for them to have stuck with them...
I don't think anybody who ever played it...
Yeah,
no, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. For them to have stuck with the controls for 5 consecutive games and not change anything except add on to them shows that people who are actually spending the time to play the games and get good at them, and that's the key word here, get good, were having just a fine time with it. Like, same thing with Silent Hill or Resident Evil. They all had interesting controls, but if you invested the time and got good, you'd find that the controls were just fine.
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny you should say that, though. I will say this, so, I played, I'm a big fan of the first Parasite Eve game, and I tried to play Parasite Eve 2, but I can't really get into it, basically because of the control scheme, where, I guess when you turn around, she just kind of, like, circles in place, then she moves, and so, I don't know, I guess that kind of controls I never really got used to, but compared to that, the Tomb Raider controls for the core design one was a lot more.
Yeah, and if you've seen the past 6 speed runs that we've done, you'd see just how easily Lara can be controlled if you just spend enough time to get used to the controls.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, there's a friggin' house tutorial level where she verbally speaks to you on how to properly control her, but we know how a lot of gamers with their impatience just jumped right into the game and immediately called crap on them just because they didn't get it.
Did you guys ever finish all the treasure hunting and the Croft Manor level in this game?
Years ago.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I did years ago.
Long time.
Yeah, back when the game was brand new. I don't think I've ever done it since, though. Just
Same. I think, I mean, you're not going into it here, obviously, but the Croft Manor secrets, I thought they did a really beautiful job bringing the manor into the gameplay era. As you say, they obviously had a humongous influence from the films. It was a slight pity that you couldn't go outside, but of course they updated that with Anniversary and then promptly blew the whole thing up in Underworld, so that was a bit of a bummer.
I know.
I was enjoying running around there.
Yeah, like, honestly, even if you are into the splittist whole thing with the original core Lara Croft, I think original classic Lara definitely would have built her house like the Legend series would have, where it was all just puzzles and crazy maneuvers throughout this house.
Well, the nice thing is, though, that in the core design era, she didn't. That wasn't sort of like a family manor. That belonged to her aunt. And she inherited it from that aunt at the aunt's express will when her father disowned her. It's like, yeah, I still want to root for you and want you to continue adventuring, so I'm going to give you my little place in the country while I go off and do other things. And I'm going to leave the butler there for you as well. He's nice. He farts, but he's nice.
Well, turns out Amanda might have survived. Only her shoe is here, but no skeleton.
Yeah, corpses generally don't untie their own shoelaces.
But yeah, Winston farts. I remember.
It tells the story of the last queen of Tiwanaku. Her father was king, but she was lost and raised by a warrior. She became queen after a shaman named Tunupa discovered her royal heritage.
Tunupa is another name for Viracocha, their god of creation.
The shaman brought her to Lake Titicaca, where she borrowed his staff, an object of great power.
According to myth, Viracocha originally lived in the lake.
The god of indoor plumbing.
She led her people into an era of peace. After many years of wise and just rule, there was some sort of power struggle. She died shortly thereafter, and she was carried off in a boat to paradise.
So yeah, when now Jenny, you will actually know more about this than I would, because I, despite being the huge Lara Croft Tomb Raider fans that we are, didn't exactly converse with a lot of communities, no matter what fandom we were in. We were just like kind of all in our own circle and sharing our own opinions on our videos. But apparently you were more involved with the community, and you know about the whole, there's the fans of the original. Yeah, there's a whole...
Oh, that side-rolling flying thing that you're doing is very impressive.
Yeah, we just avoided a QTE, so for those of you that hate that, there's an option. So yeah, you know all about the fans who absolutely hate the Crystal Dynamics games, because apparently somebody in Crystal Dynamics complained that the original Tomb Raider games were crap or something like that.
There's been a lot of controversial comments made. Within and without the community, you know, there's only been like so many privileges of talking to actual Crystal Dynamics employees. In fact, there was soon after Tomb Raider Underworld was released, Eric Lindstrom, one of the writers on the series, left Crystal Dynamics. I'm not sure whether he was fired or whether he left voluntarily. And then very shortly after, a member on Tomb Raider forums claiming to be Alec Limstone did a lot of question and answers with fans. You know, there's no way to authenticate that without actually being, you know, the administrator of Tomb Raider forums. But yeah, he did an awful lot of talking about the whole process, and yeah, there have been one or two controversial comments made by Crystal Dynamics employees that you would generally not expect a fan of the franchise as a whole to be making in the public sphere. You know, think what you like personally and in private, but to publish that is perhaps a very bad idea.
Yeah, a little unprofessional, maybe.
Yeah, a lot unprofessional. Yeah, we've had comments such as the old Lara was just a sarcastic caricature, she had no personality, but of course the new Lara does. There's an awful lot of nasty comments like that. You know, she doesn't control like a tank anymore. If people who say that sort of thing know that it wouldn't be a controversial thing, then why would they blank their faces out? You know, they know that their views are unpopular, but they're trying very hard to avoid a backlash. Well, avoid the backlash by not saying anything is probably the easiest answer.
Exactly, because like if you're going to go into creating these new Tomb Raider games, you gotta have respect for the foundation in which Lara Croft was built. I mean, come on, let's face it, that's when she was at the peak of her popularity, so you can't say what they were doing wasn't working.
Indeed, you know, there's a lot that you can criticise legitimately, but you can do so without either being derogatory towards the creators or, for that matter, the fans who are so passionate about it.
Because you got to remember, like, these games, they're products of their time.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, just arrange a meeting with a member of the Yakuza, just like that. She does ask some rather impossible things of her cohorts, doesn't she?
Well, they're getting it done, so I guess it's just possible. But she's got money. And connections.
That's always a good lubricant to getting things done.
Okay, so now we're going to get out of here in an interesting manner. Let's see, we could go up there, but I prefer the low road, the road less traveled.
It's all right. Just let me know if our mercenary friends get any closer to her.
With the floor still there.
pesky. That pesky QET got removed.
You're welcome.
That's another thing that was quite extraordinary when you first saw it. You know, oh, you can forward roll into enemies and they will crash across the room. Wow.
That's awesome. Okay, now I'm hoping that I don't get knocked off this rope here by a stray bullet from a shotgun, because that has happened to me. Okay, good. I'm safe. There's one more guy up here that kind of gives me a little trouble, too, because he's pulled off a couple of lucky shots.
It's from the back, you can actually see an awful lot of the character model in terms of her equipment, and you can see again how that changed during development, because when they were releasing trailers and so on, she still had the braid, her grenades were spherical, you know, she actually had flares strapped to her backpack, so all these little subtle changes that were made during development were quite interesting to compare with the final game.
Yeah, another feature that they also adapted from the movie, which I think was a necessary thing, and one thing that the movie did in itself, which was, when I first saw, I'm like, oh, that's brilliant, was the question of how does she not run out of ammo? And
yeah, the little stop and pause and get some new clips.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. The way it was done in the film, oh god, every time I see that, I get like a little mini orgasm in my face, like, oh, that is so that is so badass. Like
that was actually in the very first trailer, wasn't it? You know, before I remember seeing this model in this outfit, Lara, you know, jumping around what we would later find out would be Japan.
Have you still got an eye on the other line?
Yeah,
all sorts of things like that.
You know, maybe we should do a commentary on the movie itself.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it's been done. Like, well, probably not with Tomb Raider the movie, but yeah, I've seen how it's been done. Like, yeah, maybe we should just do that. All right, so we saved Anaya. Got all of our answers here.
I was right. This is all she left.
This does not look like an ancient artifact, Lara.
Out and didn't tell us?
I thought you were a Tomb Raider, not a sock collector.
Exactly. Just not keeping in touch with.
But don't you realize that shoe used to belong to King Arthur?
Something down there that she wanted to keep to herself.
He was a track runner, Anaya. He was number one.
You didn't want to see her, so I reminded him how much you hate the word no.
I'm a horrible conversationalist. I trust he wants to get together on neutral ground.
You'll love this. He wants to meet at Toru Nishimura's offices across the street from his penthouse.
I have heard that a lot of people have been drawing a parallel between this Toru Nishimura and Samantha Nishimura of the original, of the newest reboot.
Oh yeah.
Saying, these guys are related. It's a completely different story, but they are related somehow. I have no clue whether that's true or not.
Well, of course, you know, being different continuities or different timelines, alternative universes, they kind of want to draw parallels here and there. See, now one thing that you and I kind of had a disagreement with, and I know Gene was on my side with this one too, was the fact that Lara Croft was wearing this particular dress. Now, I can explain why this works, but I'll let you go ahead and explain why you don't like it.
I'm going to refrain from commenting on the dress because, as far as I'm concerned, there isn't a dress. I see bits of black sellotape and gravity-defying physics. I don't see a dress. And as a woman, my personal opinion is this is not a classy dress at all. In fact, it is the complete opposite of a classy dress that a lady Lara Croft would wear.
But here's the thing, Lara Croft is not all about being ladylike. She's not modest. She's wearing an outfit just for the hell of it. Like, I'll wear whatever I want, whatever is suitable for combat, which she knows she's going to get into.
Whatever you wear in the privacy of your own home for the kicks of it is one thing. When you know that you're going to meet a crime boss and there's likely to be gunfire, you'd think she would be a little more sensible.
For this, it probably is. She's wearing an outfit that's...
Sensible's overrated.
I mean, yeah, she's wearing an outfit that
You've
she can...
not had boobs that fly all over the place if you jump up and down. Trust me, sensible is very rated.
Okay, look, for all we know, she's got double-sided tape on the other side holding her boobs in place, okay? We know that's a thing.
That tape must come from CERN or something like that, because it really does defy every kind of physics in the world, in the universe.
But she could.
There was an interesting moment there. I'm sorry to interrupt. There was an interesting moment where she's talking to that guy, and then she blushes when he says something. I was like, oh, what was up with that?
Sure.
I can be very dangerous too, I was like, okay.
Whatever. But yeah, she knows she's gonna get into a fight. She chose the best dress that she can easily convert into a battle outfit.
Demands on my time, you understand?
I'm going to agree to disagree with you on that one, guys.
A sword fragment in the care of Waseda University.
Or we're just pigs.
It was until you stole it.
I am not a thief, and you would be wise to avoid such accusations.
Then I suggest we skip to the negotiations.
A lot of these voice actors have got so many other things to their name. I mean, oh, damn.
Just name a price.
Is it Michael Hagiwara?
Let's see.
Who plays Takamoto? You know, he's been in Uncharted, other people have been in Warcraft and Dragon's Dogma and all sorts, so it's wonderful to hear them in different roles.
Alright, here we go. It's morphin' time.
Oh boy.
Yeah, she pulled the gun out of her cooch.
Oh, Bill.
I thought that was
Where is your filter?
Yeah, I think you're confusing that with her handbag, perhaps.
Yes.
I'm just making jokes. I just like how he comes out like, oh god.
Where'd you get those?
Basic etiquette. Never arrive at a party empty-handed.
Takamoto has no.
See, she's wearing a dress that she could easily convert into a battle gear outfit. Come on.
Well, she manages to run and jump and do gymnastics with Larson and Pierre in that floor-length dress.
I'll go up.
Does that incredible vault over a pizza moped. Makes it get there.
Yeah, which she just flat out stole and never gave back.
Be cautious. There is construction above.
So, Jane, how do you think they handle the combat in this game?
Interestingly, I think I know that some game reviewers did criticise the combat as being, not as good as it could have been, but it was a marked improvement in terms of the flexibility that you had. I liked the target lock on. I liked the melee combat particularly. That was something that the previous games either didn't do at all, or tried to do, as in Angel of Darkness, and didn't quite manage to pull off very well. That this one was much better.
Oh, the slow motion fighting.
Why don't you ask me what I thought about the combat?
What'd you think, Bill?
I like it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I was looking forward to that bike.
What bike?
We got no time for bikes.
Don't mind me, gentlemen.
Oh, jeez.
Going to kill your boss.
Wait, you can actually do that, Bill? You can just run
just
those guys and
walk in the door.
Oh my gosh. Here I am doing things the hard way.
Just go to the door. You can do that.
Stop her! She's heading for the door!
I ain't going in there.
Ow!
But yeah, I liked the combat. I thought was really good. The way you could just jump off of people's heads and just twirl in slow motion and cap them in the head. I thought that was a really cool feature. Being able to slide into the Mega Man slide into them and cause them to trip up and do flips in the air while you can also blast them. I thought was also really cool. It was just stuff that we haven't really seen Lara Croft do. We knew she could, but it's just the generation of games that we had and the time period just didn't allow for us to really take control of all of that, and all of that really cool stuff was just relegated to cutscenes.
Now, there is one issue I have, and I know Will has the same issue as well, is that sometimes when she jumps to a ledge, you could have sworn that she's in distance, but she never means to reach for it, and she ends up falling to her death.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is a problem with the engine. It's not perfect. It's good enough, and I'd say about probably 90% of the time it does work. But if you're going to make a lot of these risque jumps, especially where you kind of have to guesstimate whether it's going to happen, there has been countless times where I can vouch that like this one right here. Yeah. Right, where I can vouch that Lara could have made the jump, but didn't. Her animation to even grab out for the ledge never triggered, and it's resulted in a death. And if you're speed running, it is the worst thing ever.
Where's Harrison Ford when you need him?
What would he do?
Probably zoom past on an air taxi or something.
Okay, hopefully I can knock down the chandelier real quick. Come on. Yeah, good.
Oh!
That was another thing that this engine did, I won't say for the first time, but did very well for the first time, and that was these physics-based puzzles.
Ooh, wow! That...
Nicely missed.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that was risky.
Well, at least Lara has that ability from the core design game. She can take a bullet to the face and just shrug it off.
Let me have a look at it and I'll
Let me see it and I'll tell you. Oh, shoot. I messed up. Jerk. Also, being able to pick up enemies' weapons and use them against them was a nice feature. It was also different.
You can only carry one at a time, can't you?
Yeah, you can only carry one at a time.
Is that right? Yeah.
But it was kind of Uncharted in that way, so... Yeah, so Uncharted fans, there you go. This game did it first. So, yeah, unlike all the other games where you always had an inventory of really insane weapons from grenade launchers, harpoon guns, and MP5s.
I love it when you go to activate the elevator, but you're not quite in position, so you just kind of slide over to the, to the button to push it, and then slide back.
Well, like we said, it wasn't perfect yet. It was a bold experiment just to see what they could do, and it was a success. All right, so here we are, Takamoto. Let's take down the Yakuza. Yeah, how badass is Lara Croft? She can take down the entire Yakuza herself.
Into my house. You have killed my men.
I've simplified your payroll. And now, if you don't mind, I'll streamline your inventory.
You speak of this? It is the most prized of my collection.
And why is that?
I am fond of recovering objects from dead Englishmen. In this case, one of your crusaders. Some have even said the warmonger was one of your King Arthur's knights. I do not know how the fool came by it, for it is clearly far older than the 11th century, when your people lived in huts of mud.
And for this reason, you'd rather die than hand it over?
No. For this one!
Woo!
Yep, big dramatic circular room. There's gonna be a boss fight.
Indeed.
Yes.
And there was a checkpoint, so that's how you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys haven't figured out by now, we are trying to collect all of the pieces of Excalibur, the sword that used to belong to King Arthur. Now, this game did take quite a few liberties in the lore with King Arthur, because, of course, what history book doesn't?
Well,
hey, what are you talking about? This is accurate to history, man.
So, which version of the King Arthur myth are we talking about? Are we talking about Mallory's? Are we talking about Thelisson's?
This is hard science.
You know, which version would you like?
The Disney one is the one I follow.
Oh, God.
Because it always tickles me that, you know, people think that Lancelot and the whole quest for the Holy Grail and everything was really canon. That was added by the French about a century later, after Mallory.
So now Lara has one piece of Excalibur. And the...
Bye, Japan.
And a handy helicopter.
Indeed.
They say heights don't bother her, it's the falling from them that's the problem.
Oh, well said.
that line I always thought was funny. I am relieving myself too.
Depends on whether he was naughty or nice.
We've got a line on James Rutland, by the way. Want to go together?
Absolutely. Africa is among my favorite continents.
And if all goes well, we won't be there long.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's funny how she says that after, you know, her experiences in Egypt prior to all of this, when she was, you know, trying to get her face eaten off by mummified Atlanteans.
Yeah, Lara Croft
just
has... Lara's seen so much crap at this point in time.
That's the fun stuff.
No sign of Rutland so far. Who worked out what he's doing here?
Another thing they added I really like is the grappling hook.
Oh yeah, that was also a really nice addition, wasn't it?
I think I preferred the incarnation of the grappling hook where it was actually a physical hook as opposed to a magnetic grappler.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Leave it to Jen.
What are you doing?
Leave it to Jen to always criticize something. Oh, don't mind me. Carry on.
Hey, I said I liked an aspect of the grappling hook. It was just the come on, you're supposed to do the whole swan dive thing.
Yeah, boo.
Yeah, boo sucks. How can you possibly miss out the swan dive?
Yeah.
One of the best aspects of this level.
Just like being up close personal with the water. Woo!
As you do.
Well, hello. The level has not loaded yet.
You broke the level.
Now we have to skip this cutscene because it won't play. Now don't mind me, I'm just navigating in the dark till I find the area of the level that can load. There it is, over there. I'm running to it. I can see it. Don't mind. Don't worry. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. And we are. There we're clear. All right, carry on. Carry on.
I am speechless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
I said this would be short.
I've talked to Bill about this before, but I always thought that Lara Croft would be a great candidate to be in a fighting game.
Oh yeah.
Why wasn't she in PlayStation All Stars at least?
Oh, forget PlayStation All Stars. Why wasn't she in Super Smash Brothers?
Or Smash? Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's a perfect candidate for Smash Brothers. All the weapons and stuff that she can do. Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, she's far too busy raiding tombs and doing archaeology stuff.
What about Solid Snake? I mean, he had time for Smash. Yeah, just saying. I think Lara Croft can make some room.
Oh yeah, and of course, knowing since this is me, I always got killed by these boulders at least once.
Yeah. Watching Gene play Tomb Raider 3 with all the boulders was just quite a thrill. And another boulder for the win! Hi, Rutland.
You came for the Galali key too, then. Perfect.
I can remember listening to this guy, Reno Marrero, in Starship Troopers, Razak's Roughnecks, when I was a teenager.
Oh, really?
He was brilliant.
And according to Amanda's research,
I mean, he's been in absolutely hundreds of things as a voice actor.
Rutland, why are you wearing your sunglasses in here?
Where is she?
Like it's...
Because I'm a cool American and I wear my sunglasses all the time.
I wear my sunglasses.
This is how they think us Americans are. I'll be honest, they're
Dynamics
right.
is an American company.
That's very true.
This is
now
not core design Derby-based stuff trying to work out how Americans act. This is Americans saying how Americans act. Or at least how they did in 2006.
Check and mate.
Oh, he wants to fight. Well, all right, well, well, come at me, bro.
Oh,
wow, you kind of suck at this, Rutland.
Was quick.
Will, you said it yourself. They introduced the grenades in Crystal Dynamics, and the grenades have always been OP in their Tomb Raider games.
As you just clearly saw.
And hell, man, all you need is the grenades to beat the Lara Croft games.
The only thing I could say to Rutland right now is hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good pair of pistols at your side and a bomb or two.
I'm not in it, however.
Indeed.
You won't enjoy seeing me again.
your father might not have found
I'll
the
just
Galali
relieve
key,
you of this.
but Amanda doesn't know that. She's at your mansion right now. You better have good insurance.
Amanda, she's at my mansion. She's gonna take all my hot biscuits.
Finally. I've been trying to get through for ages. What?
This woman just saw her way through the front door. She had some sort of... I don't know what the hell it was.
It's like black smoke.
I'll be there straight away.
No, we're fine. Look, you've got to follow her. She's going for another piece of the sword.
What? Where?
In Kazakhstan. I found a photo that matches the pieces you have.
All right. Do an inventory and try to locate something called...
You know, Alistair and Zip must be an amazing pair of hackers between them to have found a photograph of the sword fragment from an old Soviet base that has been closed down for about 50 years.
We both know that it was the first Google search image.
This probably is true.
Very, very good point.
Or maybe Amanda, while she was there, decided to use Lara Croft's gear and just be like, oh, well, she's got the most powerful computers. I'll just use it real quick and not delete and not clear the browser history.
Project from the 50s called Carbonek. The laboratory was studying an ancient sword fragment.
Obviously, this was a much shorter game than the other previous core design games. Do you think that was a design choice?
Yeah, more or less probably because they were trying to test out the new engine and the gameplay mechanics just to see what they could do. I mean, for a new time player, it's lengthy enough, But if you know what you're doing and you know exactly where to go, yeah, it's a pretty linear and short adventure, which obviously they fixed the next time around with Anniversary and Underworld.
Well, I've heard it say that you can actually complete Legend in like under 4 hours, and that's collecting all of the secrets and all of the sort of extra challenges.
But yeah, they did go out of their way to add those extra challenges, and of course Croft Manor was a huge improvement.
It's interesting though how, as an experiment in game design, as a the first Crystal Dynamics game that they chose, they essentially chose variety over length. You've got like 8 different locations, as opposed to maybe the kind of 3, 4, 5 that you would have found max in a previous game. And sometimes that's really interesting. I mean, I always think of Legend as sort of like the Cliff Notes version of what Tomb Raider games generally display. They have exotic locations, they have different types of puzzles and challenges, from like this, where you've got the sort of semi-derelict, technological, urbanized type of setting, right through to really ancient tombs and mechanisms.
Now, if you haven't noticed, we just went right back to the start where we were.
Yeah, of course you did. Well, you need to get on that damn train.
Well, yeah, this definitely had the more kind of Tomb Raider 3 globe hopping sort of feel to it, I think.
Yeah.
Woo!
Forget the train.
Of course, I just would happen to find a motorbike right by the train track, fully fueled, ready to go.
Indeed.
Keying the ignition.
This is my favorite track in the entire soundtrack of this game.
It is pretty ballin'.
I think I had it on a car CD playlist of many years ago.
Whoa, you actually like something from this game?
Of course I do. I mean, Charles Fallman was like a new composer in this. I mean, I'd heard clips of his work.
I mean, I thought you'd never have anything unless it was made by Peter Connelly.
That and Nathan McCree, but no, I really enjoy some aspects of the Legend soundtrack. I quite like the title theme, for instance. You've got the Gaelic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sort of singing, but it also has that gorgeous duduk sing with the Nathan McCree original Lara soundtrack theme to it. So it was a nice mixture of the old and the new.
Another thing about this game too that made it a little bit easier than other ones, that they were pretty generous with the health packs.
Yeah, they were, especially in this stage where you.
Yeah, you're playing this on hard setting though, aren't you? And there's still loads of medpacks around.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess because the designers knew that this level in particular was just kind of maybe a little BS.
Damn, buddy, you okay?
Just the way the ragdoll physics are just wonderful. I love it.
Going back to what you were saying about the Lara's age and the timeline and everything, I remember reading an interview that Eric Lindstrom, one of the main writers on this, did for Girls of Gaming in I think that was in 2008, and he was talking about Underworld at the time, but it applies basically to the whole trilogy that Crystal Dynamics did. And he was saying, that he doesn't mind what the fans think, that's up to them to think it, but to them being Crystal Dynamics, Lara is basically forever young. She doesn't continue after this point, and he can't or couldn't.
You are not going to try to tell me that Lara is like Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, where she's.
I'm just quoting Eric. I'm just.
Wow, I'm sorry, but isn't this kind of like a
here.
weird parallel? Like in Angel of Darkness, all of a sudden Gene pulled a Pokemon thing right out of his ass, and suddenly now we're going back to it. Like it turns out Lara never ages, just like Ash from Pokemon. It's kind of complete circle.
Well, if they'd kept the original birth date as 1968, then she would have been 38 in this, and
right.
Yeah, that could work absolutely, but she doesn't seem to be that age. I think the maximum age that she could
Botox.
be. We take her. Well,
no, I
there's
mean,
only so much
there's
you can do.
Good genetics. You see people now. Well, 40 is not old. I mean, you still see people that are in their 40s, but still in fantastic shape.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it does seem to be that once if you're a female protagonist, then once you get past the sort of 35 cutoff mark, then you have to be rebooted to be 21 again.
Oh, sort of like that thing. Like, if you're not a princess, you're not marketable.
that's pretty much how it seems to be. That's again, why I think that I'm more of a subscriber to the splittist biography school of thought, because they're essentially matinees. They're like the old Flash Gordon adventures, where this week we're going to go back and do another kind of set of adventures, and there is no real-time character development. There's not 5 years later I've got 5 years more experience. They did sort of bring that in with this trilogy, in that Legend is in 2006, then you've got Anniversary, which is in 1996, and then you've got Underworld, which is in 2008. So there is a certain more of that sort of thing, but Lara's general appearance and her behaviour and her attitude, really doesn't.
But yeah, it wasn't really
until
the fourth game that they decided to tell a continuity.
Yeah.
From my personal point of view, and I understand the cosmetics, how she still looks
good.
The same age she always has been. But I just personally like the idea of my heroes aging,
backwards,
getting older. Where Lara, she still does her thing, she still kicks her butt, but she still kicks butt, but she has to deal with the aches and pains of getting older. I know a lot of people don't like seeing their heroes get older. I think that's another reason why a lot of people didn't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because hey, Indiana Jones is not supposed to get old. But I just enjoy the fact that, I guess because me personally, since I get older and I'm not as young as I used to be, the fact that you can see these heroes, these people that we've grown up with, actually growing up with me and getting older, and even though they have to work a little bit harder because of their age restraints, to me it makes them more heroic. Kind of makes me think of the Batman: The Dark Knight Returns series, where at the age of 50, Bruce Wayne is still doing it, and I could just see like Lara, dealing with these younger. Like, all right, kids, let's go. I may be a little older, but I'm still the boss around here, and I'm gonna show you how it's done. So that's why I subscribe to that.
There's definitely plenty of scope for taking characters further, but again, it depends whether you want, as a developer, to follow the kind of the Saturday matinee school of thought, which is just to have episodic adventures with no timeline continuity. Which is absolutely fine, and that's how Tomb Raider, originally began. As you say, it wasn't until The Last Revelation that we began to develop time-specific character development arcs. But equally, it's perfectly fine to have character development arcs, and I think I'm with you on that one, in that I prefer to see characters grow and mature and face different kinds of challenges that aren't just... Right, this week we're going after the golden totem of Sobek, because last week went after the golden totem of Amenhotep, and just follow that sort of episodic, formulaic approach. It's nice to have some variety and some growth.
Right on. Yeah, I'm pretty much okay with any sort of continuity. Given the position that I'm in and the work that I do, being subject to change is something you always got to be accepting to.
Lara, I'd be getting down if I were you. You're going to be blown off.
Whoa!
Blown off, shot off, falling over.
Oh god, if only I could get inside.
Who leaves a fuel tank? Who leaves a solid fuel tank on the
that's
tracks?
A good point.
Oh no, a plot device!
Yeah.
Well, they would have, by definition, gone ahead to this base and thought, yep, we're going to send a train after that, and nobody thought to remove the fuel tank from the tracks. Yeah, Amanda's crew need a bit of lessons in forward planning.
Oh dear.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, that's not the position I would have immediately went to. I'd have fell backwards rather than forwards.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been as dramatic.
I've seen her fail these. Oh god.
Yeah, it's kind of messy.
But thankfully, I don't suck at video games.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Mr. Iron Maidenhead.
Well, back in the day when this game came out, there was a channel called G4, which was a video game channel, and they had a review show, and they reviewed Tomb Raider Legend. Gave it a positive review, but then they ended the review with, all right, let's watch all the deaths of Lara Croft. Put the comedy music.
I remember that.
So
Well,
here we
because
are.
you're interdimensional shifting Lara, doing all this wall thing. Of course, it's going to get colder.
So here we are in Lara dealing with the old Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh,
Is that correct? Yeah.
She's never going to do that.
Right.
Or from Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan is
Kazakhstan.
more like Asia than Europe.
Right.
It is much colder in here than it was outside.
Of the Russian Navy.
No, I'm speechless, comrade. Huh.
Now, going back to the music and the soundtrack, it's again, Legend holds the record for the longest score of any of the games. It's like 4.5 hours long.
Well, yeah, because
But,
remember,
most of that is down to
I'm sorry to
the,
cut you off, but a lot of times in the older games, a lot of when you were exploring the worlds, it was just very quiet and moody, and like they played like very subtle little cues here and there for the for the ambiance. It wasn't all music all the time. But because this is more of
they used they used a different technique on this one that links to what you just said. You know, they had this context-sensitive micro scoring, so that it would seem like it was a cinematic piece of music as you were going along, but in fact it was lots of little pieces that could be triggered to flow into one another depending on what your actions were, and I think that was quite clever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of both approaches of having actual music and then just having ambient
you
sound.
have to. You have to have a good combination
I like
of both of those. And I'd say in any form of development, whether it be video game or movie, because without music and without good music especially, you can kill the mood or not create a mood at all for the scene that you're trying to tell or the level that you're in. But you also got to have...
That gas is so dense. Sorry, you're just like floating on top of it, you know.
But you also got to have the right ambience
game,
and sound effects and the right musical cues as well. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just talking casually while I'm just performing.
Ooh, here's gothic lady here, real gothic.
I've been all over, and I'm going to places you can't conceive of. You're the one being left behind this time. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Amanda. If I'd known that you were alive, I swear I would have done everything I could to save you.
Please. I got over that a long time ago. You know what really used to bug me, though? When I got out and saw that you left without even trying to... What is it archaeologists do? Oh, right. Dig.
We'd thought of it as a memorial.
Whatever. Don't let her follow me.
It kind of kills Amanda's villainous attitude for me when I find out that the voice actress Kath Soucie also did Rugrats, and Phil and Lil, and all of these other, sort of kiddie characters. I mean, she's been in all sorts as well.
Now, the thing about Amanda is I find her to be a very interesting kind of villain because she's got villainous ways, but she's also not. She's pissed, but it's kind of an Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going through all that hell, so just forget that.
As you do.
But yeah, like, her motive is, like, yeah, she's upset that she got left down there, and yeah, ultimately you would feel hurt. Like, really? I'm down there and you didn't even try to even get my body? Like, you just kind of just left me down there? But even in this game, she goes out of her way to, like, make, like, subtle little things. Like, she doesn't want Lara dead. She just kind of wants... When you're mad like her, it's hard to understand exactly what you want outside of just kind of coming off as crazy.
Amanda, I'm sorry for what happened, but we can still work together.
There is no we, Lara. There never was. It was just me down there. Me and this. Do you remember it? I touched it, and it touched me back.
Oh dear.
I don't think that was a good thing.
I tamed it then, and made it my own.
No magic artifact is complete without the glazed over eyeballs expression.
Oh yeah.
Hey, if Curtis Trent can do it, so can she.
Friendlier than it was on Paraíso, isn't it? I taught it how to fetch.
You're mad! It killed our friends, Amanda, and it almost killed us!
And it saved my life once I mastered it. It's all about a broader perception. I'd stay away from it if I were you, though. It can still be a little touchy.
But yeah, right here. Yeah, she's actively telling Lara, stay out of its way, Lara. It could kill you. So it's like
in that case, you know, why release it in the first place
to
then?
back her off of her, if anything, but she's at least hinting to her to stay away. It's like Amanda doesn't want her killed; she just wants her defeated.
Well, guys, we need a boss fight to end the level. I mean, come on now.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's the thing where I just slid over to pull the lever.
This one could get a little annoying, this boss fight here.
Oh, yeah, I guess so, if you don't know what you know. Well, I guess the problem is he's kind of random, like he can just slap you around.
Right.
There it is. The sword fragment clamped overhead.
Zip, what do I need to do to get it out of there?
Grab it.
And move your ass!
Sounds like a good idea.
Well, it's about to become a blown up, demolished mystery, Zip. Sorry.
Ow.
Jenny, did you ever play any of the Game Boy Tomb Raider games?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I has never owned a Game Boy. Well, for that matter, any console apart from PC. Played all my Tomb Raiders on PC.
Cool.
You're not a real classic Tomb Raider fan if you haven't played all of the games, including the Game Boy ones.
Gonna meet Andy Dufresne and coming the other way if she's not careful.
I crawled through 10 miles.
Gotta admit, this line I did like. You know, as in take the A5 to the A30, Cornwall. You know, I thought.
I guess that's something only you people would understand, because us Americans, we don't talk like that.
It's just, you know, it was a nice little nod to the whole British roots of it that made me smile, because, you know, as you say, you know, Americans wouldn't refer to road numbers or names like that, and we do, and it sort of makes it quite cute, quite sort of, oh right, yes, Britain does exist. It's a little backwater somewhere, and we're going to the smallest, most remote part of it, in a rainy night in Cornwall.
And for some reason, she decided to bring Zip and Alistair to the event.
Well, she maybe thought that they would find it educational.
Zip is not amused.
It's just down the street.
Zip is just not amused to be here.
The real King Arthur's tomb here years ago, soon discredited, and yet another roadside attraction was born.
Now you see, there is another Americanism that sort of says, you know, because we don't have roadside attractions, you know, they would have just been like a theme park or a tourist attraction, not roadside. So, you know, Alistair there is going against the kind of road map side of things that we just had. That was a very definite nod to sort of.
Should be fired, or no one.
And now I'm gonna break the rules a little bit here.
Nice one, Lara. We had no idea. Oh, you're gonna miss all the nice King Arthur exhibits. They were so
King
fun.
Arthur! That was fun. That's fun part of the level.
I thought it was quite ironic, you know, she's sort of serious archaeologist, Tomb Raider and everything like that, but she's going to see all these cutesy-poo little exhibits. It was so fun.
Yeah. It's a cute little level that we'll just pass through.
Nice of them to leave this here for me to use.
Roman fascist that Alistair believes the whole
Oh, yeah.
was built around. This is where the truth behind the myth is supposed to be explained. It's been turned into a warehouse.
Oh, hello.
Now this is better.
And nobody thought to just walk around the walls tapping with their knuckles?
No. Tifa tried it in Kingdom Hearts 2 and it didn't work.
But I'm glad to see you now think there may be something important.
I play a lot of games, people.
Really? I'd never have guessed.
Oh, hello.
There are no problems that can't be solved with a forklift truck.
God, the first time I did that, I failed.
It does come off rather unexpectedly, doesn't it? Oh, nice
Thank
one.
you. You can stop screaming, Lara. You're good. She just wanted to test.
Nice
She
one,
wanted to test the pipes.
Nice
the acoustics in here are amazing.
So am I.
That would be a fun joke that Lara would play on Zip and Alistair. Ah! Lara! Lara, gotcha.
Lara, what happened?
Haha, I totally got you.
Lara!
Oh, I hated these things.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate them too.
Oh yeah.
Not if I
bit.
levitate.
Jeez.
Walking is for wimps.
Ah!
Oh, E.
Okay, now this is an interesting. See, now here's a glitch that you can do for like a fresh run. Like it's a glitch that only works once, like on a fresh save, so you can't like go on New Game Plus and do this glitch. But you'll see it shortly as soon as I get into the proper area where I'm about to go out of bounds. So let me set it up for the glitch here, and I'll briefly explain how it would have worked. Okay, so I get a little bit of a heightness to where I am, and then I'm gonna dodge roll my way out of bounds. Now, see over there where the level arcs up?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that leads to a checkpoint where the escape portion of this level happens long after the fight with the serpent dragon and all that. And you could dodge roll your way up there and trigger the checkpoint, but you'd be trapped in there because you'd be on the wrong side of the door to, well, unlock it. What you would do is you'd pause the game, quit the game, and restart the checkpoint, and it would start you on the right side of the door, so you could just trigger the escape portion of the level without having to proceed any further. Unfortunately, for this being New Game Plus, I can't do that, because when you do New Game Plus, you don't get the option to restart checkpoints. You just leave the stage, period. So I had to be a little creative here and travel a little further into the level and kind of break status quo, because it's kind of unheard of for a speedrunner to be going this route, but it's kind of the only option I have. But I was able to locate another route, which does allow me to get to where I need to be on the other side of the door without having to fully go all the way through the stage and to the boss fight. So I am able to avoid that, but yeah, still taking the road less traveled here.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think this is one of the nicest parts of the game. This is definitely my favourite level in Tomb Raider Legend, is the sort of whole gothic, atmospheric feeling to it. And also that I love the music in this.
A little creepier too, especially when you come across the serpent monster.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Even when I killed it, whenever I knocked it out, when I was crawling on it, I was like, oh god, this thing's gonna bite me anytime.
There is a god.
Ooh. Okay, so this is where I'm going to take my alternative route, because under normal circumstances, what you're supposed to do is climb your way on top of the chapel, which is over there, and make your way inside, solve a couple of puzzles to get the piece of the sword, and probably see the grave of King Arthur. And then it would trigger a boss fight with the serpent dragon. Fortunately, the route to get out of this cave is available even without having defeated the serpent dragon, so we're going to make our way up there and just leave.
So we're not going to go and see the grave of King Arthur?
No, we're going to leave it undisturbed. Some things aren't meant to be found.
Bill, you're passing all the good stuff. I guess that's what it means to be a speedrunner.
It tickles me when she says at King Arthur's tomb, I wouldn't take this unless I really needed it. You're a Tomb Raider, Lara. That's what you do.
Stealing.
I hate tombs.
Ugh.
You don't risk death and defilement just to get a gold idol for a paperweight.
Yeah, we have a serpent dragon down here. He's just there. Shit.
Oh, hello.
Watch this. I love how the dragon just goes down. Watch this. It's very intimidating.
You're so lucky.
I love that. Oh, you are lucky. There's a gate there. If that gate wasn't there, oh.
Reminds me of those videos you occasionally see of cats and everything like that peering up over a ledge or something and then sinking back down.
Like something nefarious. It kind of teases you a little, making you think that the dragon's got something coming up, but no. So yeah, this is the part of the door that we would have reappeared on the other side of if we reloaded the checkpoint. But as I said before, Doom Game Plus, you're incapable of doing it. And here we've got Rutland's Bend.
How did they turn off the flames?
Maybe they have flame-resistant shoes?
I'm just thinking, you know, I don't see any discarded fire extinguishers anywhere.
Or maybe they found another route.
Bad guy advantage.
They're respawning.
There you go.
Okay. Once again, taking the road... Hey, I gotta do it again. There we go. Taking the road less traveled. Woo! Well, one of the bad guys croaked.
Some controversy here. I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard that Time Magazine recently did a top 100 video games of all time list, and the only Tomb Raider game on that list was Rise of the Tomb Raider.
That's correct. I think it was something like 18th out of
really
the whole thing of all time.
I highly disagree.
Very polite and say, yeah, I cannot see how that is possible.
We should write in a very well written polite letter that we have a small demand. It shouldn't be too much, but we want the person who created this magazine to perform an act of seppuku. We don't think that's too much for this crime against humanity.
Well, it certainly isn't smacking of any kind of appreciation of the series as a whole. Because it's you know, it's a half decent AAA game, but it certainly isn't the best in the series.
Zip has the right idea right now. Watch.
Yeah, she's got this covered. Lara,
You're all
you
dirty.
need a wash.
I know, right?
Have you been rolling around in the mud? No, the air. What?
Oh, wow.
Alistair's not very hands-on with us, but Zip looks like he's seen this before.
Brilliant. This is brilliant. King Arthur was real. The Knights of the Round Table were real. And now we have Excalibur right here in front of us. Those stodgy bastards at Oxford will have kittens when they hear of this.
It's even bigger than that, Alistair. What Arthur called Excalibur is a powerful artifact that predates him by millennia.
Well, it's still in pieces. Who brought the superglue?
While I was in Ghana, I asked you to look around for the Galali key. No luck, I take it?
It was not among your father's collection.
Or his records.
It wasn't in Ghana either. Or Rutland was... Hello? What's this? I've seen you before, haven't I? Hang on. A striking resemblance, don't you think?
The pendant was a gift from your father. I never knew from where he had obtained it, until now.
Where is it now?
It's in the Himalayas. My mother had it with her. Zip, Alistair, I'm going to Nepal. Please make the usual arrangements.
We'll take care of it. Come on, man.
Not to presume, Lady Croft, but I'd hoped you wouldn't try to use the sword yourself after what happened to your mother.
She removed the sword. That's what killed her. I don't intend to do the same. If my father had known any of this, he tried so hard, and they hated him for it.
No one hated him, Lara.
It bloody well wasn't love, was it? His reputation was destroyed. Now there's more than one thing to be salvaged from that mountaintop.
All right, so now we're here in Snowy Mountains.
Nepal.
The wreckage should be just on the other side.
I can't see anything.
I like how...
You're in the right spot.
I never forget a face.
She had some nice lines in this game. I will say that they gave us some nice lines there.
Some classic one-liners.
And I also love how every level, basically, almost every level begins with her, like, landing somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
You never see where she's landing from, do you?
Right.
It's always the fascinating thing.
La 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 la. Stop judging me.
Well-constructed
Not
game here.
judging you in the slightest, just thinking, miraculous event here.
Jeez.
Let's see, I'm pulling this over to me. Now I'm gonna jump.
What are you pulling?
Now I'm gonna jump down here, and let's see. I'm gonna climb right up here.
No, seriously, what were you pulling?
Now when I climb up there, I'm gonna pull that thing towards me. Okay, I triggered the I triggered the checkpoint. Very important. And so now I'm going to kill myself.
What?
As you do.
Okay.
Oh.
I did that on purpose.
Okay.
Well, I triggered the checkpoint.
Okay.
So.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
There we go.
It's an art.
That's cheating. It's very sneaky.
Yes.
Sorry, Will. I'm afraid you've been banned from speedruns now. I don't think Crystal Dynamics wants to see you speedrun anymore.
Stop
game.
exposing us.
I know, right?
Oh god, a chair.
Whee! Bang!
Lara? You okay?
Of course.
Just checking. It's usually someone else's past you're digging into.
That's where you're wrong, Zip. This has always been what it's about. Now there's
Is that
one more
Ra's al
place I'd like to
Ghul,
visit.
I see,
It shouldn't
over there?
take too long.
Making funny gestures over the top of the roof.
Indeed.
The Lazarus pit.
Now, how did they escape the crash and make it all the way to... Never mind.
It seems like they were trying to like dig a little deeper to why Lara does tomb raiding. It seems like they're kind of hinting like it's like she's trying to. Every time she goes into one of these adventures, she's like digging into her own past a little bit or something like that.
Which I guess people were, or I guess Crystal Dynamics kind of wanted that, because in all of the other Tomb Raider games, we kind of didn't really explore Lara Croft's inner character or her background. Sure, the manuals kind of briefly,
her psyche.
Yeah, the manuals kind of briefly detailed it with some history, but I guess they now finally wanted to tell a story that was all about her past and why she does things. And I guess it never really bothered me. I never really cared as to her motivation as to why she does what she does, but she's a badass female that chooses to go on these adventures because she likes doing it. Be damn, who cares if her family used to do it? The fact that she is willing to do it on her own is cool enough in my book.
Yeah, that was something though that the Crystal Dynamics again borrowed, very heavily from the movies. Is this the legacy of Richard Croft, and it's Lara's ultimately getting into archaeology and going after these mysteries because she's fulfilling her father's legacy. She's filling his unfinished work, and it was true in this version of the Crystal Dynamics era. And it was also true, of course, in the most recent reboot. You know, in even the DLC that's been announced for Rise of Croft Manor. She's not going into Croft Manor because of something that her great ancestor did. No, she's got to unlock secrets that her father left behind, and I think it's some ways this preoccupation with Lara's immediate family, and particularly her father, has diminished her personal motivation. She has less conflict. She's going along with things that have already been done. So in that sense, she isn't quite the pioneer anymore, because it's always something that somebody else has already done work into. She's only going after the Scion because her father was also after the Scion, and Natla manages to entice her on that front. She's going after the sword because it's the answer to what happened to her mother that her father was also obsessed with. and so on and so on and so on.
But she
You know,
still had all
before
these episodic
it was-
adventures on the outside, though.
She did, but it always the games have now seem to be, frankly, obsessed with Lara and her father, or Lara and her mother. I mean, they resolved the mother story arc in Underworld to a certain extent, but there's more to Lara than just fulfilling her family's legacies.
And there is, you're right. But for these particular sets of adventures, or this trilogy, they wanted to dive into a little bit of her psyche and her past. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Like, again, it never really bothered me too much to give her a motivation because her father might have been involved. I mean, that's fine. I mean, because she's still doing things that her father didn't, or proving things that her father wasn't able to do himself. So she's surpassing him in a lot of ways, which is cool in its own right. She's able to do.
There's that white
You're
tiger.
gonna go along with that snow leopard all the way over that
Yeah,
jump.
pretty much.
You've got a permanent pet now.
Yeah.
We've adopted him. His name is Muffins.
she would. Oh, I died here a lot too.
We really are romping through this, aren't we?
We're going back to Bolivia. Then we'll see.
She must
This
get
was-
the most atrocious jet lag from doing all of this.
Yeah, back and forth, back and forth. Well, that was the first real full level. Now the final is just this big, kind of just big boss battle thing.
Yeah.
Back to where it started. Time to go to work.
I'm gonna need a clear head for this, lads. No distractions, please.
Good luck.
It's just like the dragon.
Anyone between me and that stone dies.
Stop. I don't want anything bad to happen, but it will if you come any closer.
Bitch, please.
Kill her.
It's
will
like
try.
what? It's
mean,
like while Rutland was just laying there all limp, he raises just his one arm and he points his finger. Kill her.
What, you mean the lady with the big green monster sword? So are you sure about this? Yes, I am absolutely sure. But can't you just maybe take this gun while I run away screaming?
Never thought Excalibur would have looked like this, huh?
It was quite a cool design. I liked the black and the green. It was very looked like some sort of Lovecraftian artifact from the dawn of time or something.
Right.
Quite a nice alien
She
design.
hit me right in the sunglasses. I can't go on.
Got me right in the ego. It's punctured. I need a new one.
It's fatal.
What are you doing? Stay away from there.
It's what I came for. You don't
Oh, it's on now.
We can both do this.
One thing I thought was interesting was the rules for her powers changed in Underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. To fit the narrative.
Mind you, the rules around this Excalibur portal and dais arrangement seem a bit bizarre. I mean, when Emilia uses the sword to go to Avalon, she breaks the portal. Now, how's that supposed to work? And yet when Amanda and Lara escape Helheim in Underworld, they don't break the portal. The portal, in fact, is magically restored to how it was.
Well, in all fairness, these are 1,000-year-old relics. Like, they're probably on the brink of breaking anyway, and this was probably the one that was the most undiscovered and touched by nature.
They made these things to last back then. They weren't, your sort of iPhone consumer culture crap. They made things to last.
I don't know. Like, the one in Bolivia
Make
seems
do
to be
and mend.
fine. Even the one in Avalon was breaking apart, and Lara needed to hold it back together and just to create that moody scene. So yeah, I think it's possible that these things are just that old that time has just shown.
I remember the Tomb Raiders community at the time. I don't know who it was first did it, but somebody christened this thing Fluffy, and the name stuck.
Fluffy.
Well, she keeps it
Fluffy.
around like a pet.
Don't
so.
ask. I don't know why, and I don't know who it was first coined the term, but that's if you've been in the Tomb Raider community since Legend was released, then that's probably what you think first when you see that thing.
Well, guys, this is Tomb Raider Legend.
Nice tats. Amanda.
Stargate. And after all these years, no sign of any yellowing on these pages.
That's right.
Archaeologists always take copious notes, even when they have only crayon.
Here, go here, go here.
Let's see, L1, R1, R1, L1, L1, L2, R1, L1, R2, no.
Where's our Tomb Raider educational game? Darn it.
Oh, God.
Well, there have been fans doing documentaries and looking at the actual archaeology and history of the places involved. One done very recently, called, would you believe, The History and Geography of Tomb Raider. In fact, it got Shelley Blond to narrate the first episode, which is pretty
Now
awesome.
here's the big twist of the game.
Yes, the voices that were out of time. How the hell did that work?
Don't touch the sword! She meant no harm.
Take out the sword!
What? No! Mother, listen to me.
It'll explode unless you pull out the sword!
Now, was she actually meaning that, or was that just a convenient ploy to get her to leave the sword alone? I never worked that out. Oh, that was close.
Idiot! You ruined everything!
All these years I blamed myself, and it was you! You killed her!
Killed her? She's not dead! She went where I was supposed to go, where you could have gone!
Makes sense right this second, or I swear I'll execute you where you stand!
I told you to pull out the sword. I told you!
Where is my mother?
Avalon! It's not a myth. Don't you get it? You'll never understand. I'm wasting my breath.
Ooh!
From this moment.
Wouldn't it be funny if in Underworld she was actually missing a couple of front teeth?
Had them replaced, keep the fangs alive.
There you go.
Cheap vampire fangs.
There you go.
I pitied him for thinking that way.
But yeah, like, she was telling Lara to pull out the sword. Whether or not it would have exploded, maybe, maybe not, but
Zip, call Professor Eddington at the Cavendish.
in a way, she was telling Lara to pull out the sword so that she would go to Avalon, so who knows what her motive was for telling her to do that.
Was right about everything, and there may still be time to do something about it.
Well, that obviously was setting up for the next adventure.
Underworld.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, which would have led to, well, in canon timeline would have been Underworld, but of course they wanted to tread back and show us events of ages past. Well, guys,
Final thoughts on Ledge. I actually do have a little bit to say. I know there's a lot of I've actually seen a lot of people, fans of the old core design Tomb Raider games, say that, oh, Crystal Dynamics ruined the franchise, and these games are non-canon because they weren't made by core design, and which I always irked me when people don't like something, it's non-canon, like Revengeance or whatever. But my whole feeling is that, listen, there wouldn't be a franchise right now if it wasn't for Crystal Dynamics. You know, I don't agree with everything they said or all the decisions they made, but I thought that Tomb Raider Legend did its job. It revitalized the series, because even if people don't want to believe it, you know, Angel of Darkness wasn't received very well.
in fact, it was that
You know,
bad.
and-
It really did kind of kill the franchise for a while, and if it wasn't for Crystal Dynamics taking up the mantle and doing what they did with Legend, let's face it, Tomb Raider probably would not exist today, and we'd have to explain to people that once upon a time there was a series that starred a very awesome female, and then it just ended badly.
And one thing I will say before, just one last thing I want to say too is that another thing that was a strike against core design is that I think you can also make the case that the Tomb Raider core design games were a lot like the classic Mega Man series, in which the sequels were kind of the same game over and over again, just with a few cosmetic changes. And the one time they actually tried to do something completely new and fresh, it didn't work out. So I agree with Eidos' decision to give it to Crystal Dynamics to bring it a new, fresh perspective on it. And whether you don't have to like them or not, but just at least show some respect for what they were able to accomplish and respect for people who enjoy the Crystal Dynamics games. That's all I have to say. There you go.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, you are correct in that as a franchise, Crystal Dynamics rescued the Tomb Raider name from financial ruin. The Eidos was simply not willing to risk further financial uncertainty and development chaos, as they had done with Angel of Darkness. That they missed financial targets, quarterly targets, and
because I'm sorry to cut you off, but correct me if I'm wrong.
That.
Wasn't like Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness a really expensive game?
Honestly, I don't know what the costs on it were. I know that the company had an awful lot of other subsidiary costs that weren't directly related to the game itself, but all the marketing and stuff like that surrounding it, because it was very aggressively marketed, as Legend was in that regard. But in that sense, the core design team, through one or two iterations, had been churning out something like 6 games in 7 years. And they needed a break. They needed some time off rather than churning out a game a year. Crystal Dynamics have been doing that with Legend Underworld Anniversary. And, after that, you need a break. You've got to step back. And, but of course, money targets being what they are, you have annual targets to match. And that means pushing the developers to produce more content, whether they're ready to do so or not. I would, in an ideal world, it would have been fantastic for Eidos to have gone, okay, there was, staff morale was absolutely rock bottom. People had left in droves at core. Angel of Darkness had been released, but it had been a commercial disaster. Let's put it on ice for a couple of years. Let's not say, well, you have to produce the sequel to come out for next Christmas. Let's take a step back from all of this and give you guys the chance to just do something different for a bit and get your breath. But of course, that isn't the way the video game industry works. They need content, they need titles, otherwise they don't survive. So yeah, the decision to move to Crystal Dynamics was significantly motivated by the need to keep the franchise going and alive. I mean, there were 3 years between Angel of Darkness and Legend, and then you had an entirely new crew brought on. Yeah, I know Toby Gard was hired in as a creative consultant after the original Legend story had been completely fleshed out, and he ended up doing a lot of things like directing the cinematics and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a completely fresh start for the entire franchise. It saved it from financial ruin and gave it a new direction, and some fans love that, some fans hate it. Some people can see a bit of good in both sort of circumstances. But I think the most important thing is for both the fans and, crucially, the source developers and publishers to show, if not liking, at least respect for all aspects of the franchise.
And that seems to be the biggest
the
problem, is that there's just such a huge divide in the fan base, and unfortunately this is the game where it all starts. And unfortunately, to even make matters worse, it's now been bought out by a company that has no idea what to even do with the franchise. It's just money, Square Enix. Yeah, so now we have a beautiful franchise that's owned by a company that doesn't know what to do with it, being also hosted by Eidos, who also really doesn't know what to do with it outside of let's pump it out year after year because it worked for us in the past. Now, in the past, being the 90s, that was an idea that actually worked in that time span because, like, yeah, a lot of franchises were able to pump games out. I mean, yeah, Tomb Raider was a little more ambitious, as in it was able to get 5 of them out on one generation of consoles. But there were a lot of franchises that did that. Like Crash Bandicoot got out a ton of games on the PlayStation and was able to reap massive success. Spyro the Dragon was able to get 3 titles on the same console. Like it was a different time, like where where we treated these games like they were episodic, like adventures that didn't directly have to reference each other in some massive story. It was just continuing on. But yeah.
That's always going to be the case, though. That, you know, the real kudos, the real honor, and the major respect is always and always will be due to the writers, the musicians, the programmers, everybody who is the true developers. You know, that the publishers can support their work and so on. But I think that when you look at these games and these titles, you really. The real love is for the product, not for the marketing that surrounded it or the hype. It's whether or not it told a good story, whether or not you liked the characters, whether or not you drove yourself crazy trying to figure out the sort of solutions to a puzzle for yonks on end. You know, that's what people really care about. And whether, you know, this publisher did that or that publisher did this, at the end of the day, you got to respect the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that the creators put into it.
Yeah, we can't have this division of, oh, Crystal Dynamics sucks and their Tomb Raider games are horrible, because you can even see with their particular games, it doesn't matter, split timeline, singular timeline, none of that matters. The thing is, they had a lot of heart put into this franchise just as much as Core did. Yeah, sure, some of them may have said some things, but I'm sure not everybody was saying that. I'm sure they had a lot of love for the foundation in which Lara was built. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't even be there.
There's another aspect to it. I mean, we're probably running out of time now, but the other aspect, of course, is that the Lara Croft character and the whole Tomb Raider formula that was created is, when you boil it down to brass tacks, a completely fluid system open to interpretation. I mean, Lara Croft, the Amazon, everybody will have their own personal vision of what she should sound like, what she should look like, how she should behave. And if the developers of the official rights holders don't quite get her right, then, you know, you are always going to have people, you can't please everybody.
Yeah, and
so you always have to keep that in mind.
And of course there are a lot of people that have their own variations on Lara Croft. I mean, that's why you have fans that are so passionate that are creating their own timeline continuities, trying to figure out which game goes where and if there are connections between them, because heck, if the developers won't come out and outright say if there is or there isn't, what's stopping the fans from doing it for them?
Quite.
Any final thoughts, Gene?
Well, it's still my favorite Tomb Raider game. To me, it's not too short, not too long. Yeah, I still enjoy this game very much, and it was a very important part of Tomb Raider history. It allowed the franchise to continue on, and I had a lot of fun watching Bill smash it with a hammer, leapfrogging over time and space.
Yeah, Tomb Raider Legend. It's a game that I also have a lot of joy with, and it's a very kind of bittersweetness, but maybe a little more sweetness, because like I said, it came at a time when I think I really needed this game just to show that it's not over. We can still rise from the ashes and bring forth something special out of a franchise. It's not dead. It can continue. It may not be what it was before, but god damn it, it's gonna continue, and it will be great. Some love it, some hate it, some are kind of mad about it, but you know what? I'm just happy that Lara Croft is still alive and people can still enjoy her games, reboots and all. So guys, this was my speed run of Tomb Raider Legend. I was joined by Eugene and Jenny Milward. I'm your host, William Morris.
Any last thoughts, Jenny?
Oh, yeah, pretty much summed up what you guys said. You know, I always have my own personal preference of being a core girl at heart, but I can at least appreciate that this fresh start brought a new kind of energy to the franchise, and you know, visually and graphically and musically, I absolutely love what Legend represents.
Now, Bill,
yeah.
Question: is there going to be a speedrun of Anniversary?
Oh boy, here we go. For months, the comments were filled with nothing but legend, 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 legend. Now are we going to see the latter? So let us know, guys. Are we going through Tomb Raider Anniversary, or are we jumping straight into Tomb Raider Underworld? Because as much as we love Anniversary, didn't we say everything we needed to say with the first Tomb Raider game? Must we go remake?
Well, you could always do some sort of comparison sort of thing, you know. Actually, that would be quite fun. Have both games playing simultaneously in a split screen, so you can decide which parts are which.
And lastly, guys, one more thing. Here's another video idea you guys could decide. Some of you guys have expressed a lot of interest in how these glitches are performed. What would you rather see come first? A glitch guide video on how to do all of the glitches that you've seen up until now from Tomb Raider 1 all the way to Tomb Raider Legend? Or would you like us to just go into Anniversary or Underworld? Those are your three choices. Let us see in the comments below, along with your fantastic comments of what you like about the video and all that cool stuff. And we will see you next time. Tomb Raider forever!